The YGT versus the Internet Invitational. Are they competition? They are polar opposites from each other, but both have a spot in the YouTube golf space, and they are arguably the two biggest events in YouTube golf. But are they competition? We're going to talk about it here on the Scratch Golf Show. Hope you're having a wonderful day. If you're new here to the channel, welcome. My name is Marco, and I'm your host. We talk all things golf YouTube here on the Scratch Golf Show. We break the biggest news in YouTube golf. We interview the top creators in YouTube golf. We've got some huge interviews coming before the end of the month, so make sure you guys hit the subscribe button for that. And we also report the news or do discussion topic videos like this one around the YGT and Internet Invitational and other YouTube golf topics. And hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. But you guys have been doing great. You're filling up the comment section. Love it. Love reading them. Keep doing that. And leave your thoughts on this video in the comments below. Anyway, before we get into the video, hit the subscribe button, please. I'm trying to hit 25K, 2026. YouTube tells me so many of you guys are not subscribed. So just hit the button. I'm tired of asking. It's free. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. Okay, so we are in the heart of the YouTube golf season, and that may sound like a weird term, but it's true. Like, we're seeing tours evolve on YouTube golf. PGA Tour has a season and an off season, especially with all the upcoming schedule changes that they're doing with the Challenger Series and the Championship Series and the whatever series. But like I said, we're in the middle of the YouTube golf season. We are 2 weeks away or out from the first tour, the Your Golf Tour episode dropping. We're about a month away from the Internet Invitational being filmed. It's being filmed in August sometime. I've seen a lot of questions about when the Internet Invitational is going to be released. I can't report any news other than speculation that I imagine we're going to be around the same timeline as last year. It seems like that makes the most sense. That is kind of the golfing PGA Tour professional golf off season. So I would guess October, November timeframe. But like I mentioned, it is being filmed in about a month, and we're seeing the field round out, and there is not that many spots left because I think we're going to have about 64 creators. I believe has kind of been what's been floated out there, what I've heard and heard from other people, that's going to be the number that's going to be around the second Internet Invitational. And so with those number of invites dwindling down, because I think right now we're almost at 50 based on the reporting and the tracking of everything. Sorry to take you away from the video, guys. Just want to make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, please. I'm trying to hit 25K. Hit the button. It's free. And the like button too. Now let's get back to the video. The YGT and the Internet Invitational are polar opposites, but they are the two pillars of YouTube golf. Like, they are the two biggest events, especially with how successful the YGT was, how big the Internet Invitational has gotten and will continue to get bigger, both of these things. Like I said, they're polar opposites from each other. And I'm going somewhere with this video, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you guys view these two events as competitors, competition? Do you pick one side or the other? Or are you like me and you just enjoy watching them both because they're both different, but they're both great? Like, we just had Grant apologize for a little bit of drama with this whole Michael Block situation. In that apology, he addressed saying, we don't want the YGT to manufacture, or whatever his statement said, pop up, have drama. We want the golf to be it. They didn't want Blocky the clip to be, misconstrued or whatever. And Blocky even addressed it on his story that said the YGT wasn't a big deal. Like, he was just showing his raw competitive emotion, whatever. And then you've got the other side on the Internet Invitational, which is literally going for drama, going for storylines, going for the reality TV aspect. And Bob Does Sports even addressed it in a podcast. Bob and Joey had gone on and said, like, look, they're not like scripting drama, but with the cast of characters that is being invited, there is a lot of public storylines, public, controversies like Short Game King, like and Carol, and the Good Girls versus Golf Girl Games, and many others, Quan, right, Melosi, all these characters, Big John. But there's also some other storylines that I think are going to come up as well that I don't think is not public yet, and I'm not going to talk about it, but there is so much drama, and that's what they're going for. I'll have Austin run the clip, what Bob Does Sports, what I'm talking about, so you guys can watch that.
I think people are going to be very, very happy with the list because I think we listened to what the people really want. I think there's some additions that some people are going to really stir the pot. There's a lot of side stories that are going on that people may or may not know about that is going to stir the pot.
We went for bigger personality. Go ahead, Jensen.
I was going to say, my only concern is that if Shicky wins, he's gonna throw all the editing into me and Bones' hands, and we're never gonna see him again. If he
Definitely
wins that
possible. Definitely possible.
Hey, 4 million. You could buy. Hey, I'll buy you a couple more monitors though.
I will say we tried to go for big personalities this time. I think we saw like the value in the first one and the drama that came from it. And we're not trying to like conduct chaos, but at the same time, we're not going to dismiss it if it happens, right? So I think some of these people though also, Bob, like to your point, like if people are really competitive, like the Yandles of the world or like the Grudens and Bizes and like Whitney, like those guys are all like set. They don't need this money to like be good, but they just want to win. Like Whit wanted to win because he's a competitive fucking guy. Same thing with Yandel. Like you got to get the right people who care about golf, who like golf, but also are like obsessed with winning and like are super competitive. Because then it doesn't really even matter. It's more so like they just want to go out and destroy everybody. So
Yeah,
it's going to be crazy. And I think we have a bigger field this year now. So that's fucking crazy. And a bigger purse. And like the ante and the stakes are higher for sure.
So, like I said, they had literally admitted they're going for drama. They know what they're doing. But with that limited number of spots dwindling down for the Internet Invitational, if we are assuming that the 64 number is correct, which I believe it is, we haven't seen invites for Wesley, Grant, and George, the three founding members of the Your Golf Tour. And we did not see Bob Does Sports involved with the Your Golf Tour or Barstool, but we've seen collabs. We've seen the Bryan Bros do a collab with Foreplay. We've seen, Bob Does Sports is very close with Grant and the Bryan Bros. We've seen them do a number of collabs. They did the two-man championship earlier this year across their three channels. Bob Does Sports, I can almost guarantee you that Grant and Wesley and George played a massive, massive part in getting Bob Does Sports signed with Tacoma. And Tacoma is obviously involved with the Your Golf Tour, but Bob Does Sports isn't. And it was one of the most heavily requested things in the comments in the podcast that the Bryan Bros and Grant and Brad put out, that people wanted Bob Does Sports involved. They wanted the commentary, them involved. And who wouldn't? They would make a great team. But George even addressed it saying, hey, we'll see about Bob Does Sports being involved with the YGT. And if they view us as competition from the Invitational, we completely understand that. And I've been talking about this for a couple months, that are we going to see Grant and the Bryan Bros at the second Internet Invitational? With all the new names being released, like Toombs, like DOD King, Sarah Winter, Justin Gaethje, on top of the whole video I did that's got like 220,000 views on the Internet Invitational, we're seeing those spots dwindle down. So if the Bryan Bros and Grant are not at the Internet Invitational, I've seen a lot of comments saying people are going to watch, and that would be like the biggest snub in history, not having the biggest YouTube golfers, arguably the biggest, two biggest channels right now going, with Grant and the Bryan Bros not in the Internet Invitational, which, that would kind of confirm that they view it as competition. And that just is what it is. Like, that's the business side of it. Like, but it would make sense given that the Tacoma thing, that there should be involvement, but there's not. And that's okay. Like I said, these things are two polar opposites, and there's space for both of them in the YouTube golf world. But there's a couple things, like we are seeing YGT participants in the Internet Invitational, like Toombs, like Taco, like Quan, Dalkey. Dalkey is Brad is such a weird, Brad is a special case to the rule because Brad won the first Internet Invitational. And obviously Brad's a captain, but I don't think Brad actually has any equity in the YGT, which is why also I think he's just the fourth captain. I think the Bryan Bros and Grant started that thing, like that's their baby, and they asked they asked Brad to be involved. But like I said, you could never not have Brad at the second Invitational. I mean, he won the freaking thing. But there's more good players being invited, like Toombs, like I said, like all these Taco, that you cannot have that many good players because of the format of the Internet Invitational. Like I said, we'll know once the Internet Invitational final roster is released if these guys are officially being snubbed from the roster, and that would confirm that Dave and those guys see the YGT as competition. Like, look, I don't think it's any secret that the YGT has a lot of similar concepts as the Internet Invitational. That happens. That just is what it is. Like, when something like the Internet Invitational is so successful, debuts, everyone and everybody is going to try and mimic it. That's just the content world. How many people do we see try and do the Break 50 series, or like these ideas that get recycled over and over again? Like No one will ever be Barstool because they're not Barstool, but they're going to try. Not to say that the YGT is Barstool, because the YGT is something completely different, and they are massively successful. Like I said, polar opposites. But like I said, you'd be lying if there weren't similar concepts, like the draft, like the story. Like it just is what it is. But that being said, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Do you view these two things as competition? Are you going to not watch the Internet Invitational if Grant and the Bryan Bros aren't there? Are you going to pick one side or the other? Look, the drama ain't for everybody. I love it. I think it's great. I love reality TV. Who doesn't love reality TV in America? But I can understand if you don't want to watch the Internet Invitational. Regardless, I still think it's a pretty big storyline if, Grant and the Bryan Bros haven't publicly posted about it. And until they do, I'm going to continue to talk about it and assume that they're not invited until I'm told otherwise. And I just, I've been talking about this storyline for months, that these things could be competition. At the end of the day, there's a spot for both of them. Both great events in the pillar of the YouTube golf world. Barstool, YGT. Is what it is. I'm super happy because I get to cover both of them. Anyway, what are your guys' thoughts? I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.